billion in energy credits for conservation in people's homes to make homes green that wouldn't have existed if these bills had lapsed and if the Grayson bills had not been passed. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done. People can count on me. Now, I think we have to take it a step further. Right now here in Florida, it's technically illegal for you to put solar panels on your roof and sell that electricity to the electricity company. It's illegal. It's a law that goes back more than 50 years. Nobody has any idea why it's there. We have to eliminate that law, not just here in Florida, but throughout the country.
Okay, next question is from someone who's live in the studio, Anne-Marie Delaguardia from Deltona, Florida. Go ahead.
Politicians all over the country are getting between a woman and her doctor and taking away her constitutional right to choose. How will you protect a woman's right to choose?
Who would you like to go first?
Congressman Jones.
Sure. I appreciate that question. I believe life begins at conception, and that life deserves to be protected. And so for me, it's about creating a culture that values life, from the unborn to the child facing significant economic or hunger issues to the elderly person who perhaps is a shut-in. I understand it's a very personal issue. It's a very human issue. I will tell you, even the Supreme Court, in its landmark case 40 years ago, recognized the viability of the unborn as a test when they put certain restrictions on it. So for me, I believe life begins at conception. For others, it might be later. But I will tell you the Supreme Court and Congress eventually possibly will have to deal with the fact that 40 years after the viability standard was created, viability has changed as a result of medical science.
I believe, quite simply, that the most important right you have as a human being is the right to control your own body. And that includes terminating pregnancy if that's what you so desire. I don't think that there should be any shame in that. I think there should, if anything, be a shame in the concept that you force a woman to have a child that that woman does not want to have. To me, that itself is criminal. And therefore, among other things, I've adamantly opposed every effort by this Congress to try to restrict a woman's right to choose. I've proudly opened a Planned Parenthood clinic in my district and faced down protesters so that I could dedicate that clinic. And I have, with some degree of pride, actually attended Planned Parenthood fundraisers and contributed to them. I think that it's very important that women be treated with the same rights as men. And believe me, if men could have abortions, you could probably get them out of slot machines.
All right. Now, Anne-Marie was the person who had asked that question that got voted up. She was here in person. Next, we have Maria Padilla, who's the founder of OrlandoLatino.com, who's going to ask a question on behalf of one of the people who got voted up.
Good evening, Congressman. I have a question from Samantha Morin from Pembroke, Massachusetts. And she asks, she says, Planned Parenthood is under fire for doctored videos that prove no crime or wrongdoing. Do you support defending or defunding Planned Parenthood?
Defending. There's a short answer for you.
Bingo. Okay. Congressman Jelly.
I'd say two things, and I'll keep it brief. When the videos came out, they were shocking. My side of the aisle quickly rushed to author a piece of legislation to defund Planned Parenthood, but in the process would have reduced medical care to individuals throughout the country in underserved communities. It's actually the jolly language. I introduced a bill that said we are going to disqualify Planned Parenthood as a vendor, but we are going to continue to fund women's health care services, top-level funding that it has been at. The other thing I will tell you is when my side of the aisle asked for an investigation of Planned Parenthood, I actually voted no. I was the only Republican to vote no. Should the issue be looked at? Yes. But there were already 3 committees looking at the issue. We didn't need a 4th. We're either going to be the party of less government or we're not. And so I did vote no against the Planned Parenthood investigation.
So, Congressman Jolly, I'm a little confused by your position on that because you voted no in that case, but we've had 12 investigations at the state level. They've all said that the video was doctored and there was nothing illegal whatsoever. But yet you voted to defund Planned Parenthood. So if we know that there's nothing wrong with the video, why vote that way?
So I voted against the investigation because I think that investigation has already run its course. And frankly, I don't think my party should spend 3 months during the summer in a run-up to election revisiting this issue. We can continue to assess whether or not there was a violation. That can be done without a special congressional committee. What my legislation would have done is, pending the investigation, disqualify Planned Parenthood as a vendor, but continue to provide the maximum level of resources for other providers of those same services.
Why defund Planned Parenthood if it turns out all the investigations
Did you see the
they
video?
didn't do anything wrong?
Did you see the video?
Yeah, I
That's
saw
why.
it.
That's why.
But 12 investigators saw it and said that it was doctored, and so that's why I'm asking. But so
The outrage?
you don't agree with those investigations?
Don't agree with which
That
investigations?
there was nothing wrong that Planned Parenthood had done. They had not sold any body parts.
I don't know the outcome of 12 different investigations. My point is it could have been settled with a single investigation, which is why I voted against the special committee.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
And I think it's fair to say that Americans, and by the millions, found the practice of selling baby parts quite horrific.
Right.
Well, let me address that, okay? Let me
You're
address
stoking
that.
them now.
Let's jump. Tweet at me afterwards.
Okay, let me just give me a minute here, okay?
Sure.
That's what Jewish people like me refer to as a blood libel. That's a lie that's just so utterly horrific that it takes away people's rational judgment, and all it can do is stir up hatred and demonize people. And respectfully, that's what you just did. That is not the appropriate way to discuss what Planned Parenthood is doing. It's simply inciting people to hatred. And God bless him, Barack Obama, whatever you may say about him, he never indulges in that, nor do I. Let's try to respect each other and not say someone's selling baby parts or the Mexicans are all rapists or any other fly like that is meant to make people hate other people.
Congressman, respectfully, I was merely the proposition of the video and what they were based upon. That was the context. And that is not something that I'm making a ruling on, as did or did not happen. I am merely saying the context of those videos caused outrage because that was how they were sold.
And it would be a violation to create a revenue line for the organization based on transacting in fetal parts. That was the point of the initial investigation.
And I do not claim to be an expert in these videos and do not claim to be an expert in these investigations that Cenk is discussing.
Yeah, let me just end on this note. Just for the record, so everybody at home knows, some of the 12 investigations at the state levels, a lot of them were conducted by Republicans, and one in Harris County, Texas, did indict 2 people, but not the people of Planned Parenthood, but the ones who made the videos. So that is the only indictments that have ever come out of that, just so we're clear. So there was no, according to those 12 states, no selling of body parts whatsoever, and the only people ever indicted were the people who made the videos. And the Harris County, Texas, by the way, investigation led also by Republicans. Okay, now let's move forward to the next question.
So the next question comes from James in Arkansas. Is asked concerning a very hot topic right now, the Supreme Court. Do you believe that President Obama's Supreme Court pick should have a hearing before the president leaves office?
Who would you like to answer that first?
Congressman Grayson.
The answer is yes. There is a House resolution to that effect. I'm co-sponsoring the House resolution. It's a sad situation that we're in. You know, under the original Constitution, African Americans were considered to be 3/5 of a human being. We've moved beyond that point. Now our first African American president gets only 7/8 of a term. He should be able to appoint people to the Supreme Court and any other position as part of his prerogatives as the President of the United States until his very last day in office.
Congressman Jolly.
The President has the Article II authority to appoint. The Senate has the Article I authority to accept or reject it. I end up in the same place as Leader McConnell on this, but I get there a very different way. I think the United States Senate should have a hearing and even consider a vote. And understand this, rejecting the nominee because he is wrong on the Second Amendment and he is wrong on labor unions is not obstructionism. That's actually the proper exercise of the Senate's Article I authority. If they bring it up for a vote, vote him down. Ask the President to nominate a second person, one that could actually meet approval of Republicans in the United States Senate, because what the President has to accept is Republicans currently control the United States Senate, and they have the constitutional prerogative to vote a nominee up or down. I do think he should have a hearing, and I would like to see a vote because I think he would be voted down.
As a senator, if you were serving in this position currently, as a senator for the state of Florida, would you meet with Merrick Garland?
Sure, of course.
Yes.
Okay, so let me follow up then with Congressman Grayson. Merrick Garland has voted in favor of Citizens United. Now, his advocates would say he had no choice. He was following Supreme Court precedent, but he did further Citizens